Huh?
Imagine you collapse on a busy street. People are everywhere, dozens of them. Someone will help, someone has to help. But the seconds tick by and no one moves. That moment, that frozen, horrifying stillness, is not a failure of human kindness. It is something far older, far stranger, and far more wired into your brain than you have ever been told. Your brain was not built for cities. It was not built for crowds of strangers. It was built for a group of around 150 people who knew your name, your face, your role. When something went wrong in that world, the responsibility was clear. It landed on someone specific. It landed on you. But somewhere in the long, slow journey from that ancient savanna to this crowded sidewalk, something broke. And you have been living with the consequences ever since. This is the Bystander Effect, and it is not a flaw. It is a survival program running on the wrong hardware. In 1964, a woman named Kitty Genovese was attacked outside her apartment building in New York City. She screamed, she fought. The attack lasted over 30 minutes, and at least a dozen neighbors, it was reported, did nothing. The story spread across the country like a shockwave. It asked one question that no one could answer. What is wrong with people? Psychologists John Darley and Bibb Latane were so disturbed by the Genovese case that they designed a series of experiments to find out. What they discovered changed the way science understood human behavior forever. When a person believed they were the only one who could help someone in distress, they intervened almost every time, 85% of the time. But when they believed others were also present, that number dropped to 31%. The more people around, the less likely anyone was to act. Darley and Latane called it diffusion of responsibility. The crowd does not multiply the chance of rescue. It divides it. Your brain does the math without asking your permission. But here is what that explanation misses. Here is what no textbook quite captures. Your brain is not being lazy. It is not being cruel. It is doing exactly what it was shaped to do by 300,000 years of group survival. And it is doing it in a world that no longer matches the rules. Think about the group your ancestors actually lived in. You knew everyone. You knew who was strong, who was fast, who was a healer, who was a protector. When a child fell into a river, your brain did not need to calculate who should jump in. The social roles were clear, the relationships were tight, the stakes were visible. Action was obvious because responsibility was personal. Your name was attached to the outcome. Now put that same brain on a city street with 400 strangers. None of them know your name. None of them know your role. Your brain scans the scene and searches for a social map that does not exist. Who is responsible here? The question fires and echoes without an answer. And in that gap, something ancient takes over. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar spent decades studying the social architecture of the human brain. His research produced what is now called Dunbar's number. The idea that the human brain is structurally optimized for maintaining about 150 stable social relationships. Beyond that, something changes. The relationships become abstract. The obligations become unclear. The sense of personal accountability thins out and spreads until it is almost invisible. This is not a character flaw. It is a cognitive ceiling built into your architecture. Your ancestors never needed to feel responsible for strangers. Strangers were, in the ancient world, a potential threat. Cooperation was for your tribe, your kin, your known circle. The instinct to wait, to look around, to check what others are doing before you act, that was not cowardice, that was calibration. In a small, tight group, watching others before acting was smart. It prevented impulsive decisions, it preserved social cohesion, it kept you from wasting resources on a situation the group had already handled. Carry that instinct into a modern crowd, and it becomes something else entirely. Darley and Latane did not stop at diffusion of responsibility. They identified a second force that freezes you in place. They called it pluralistic ignorance. This is the moment where everyone in the crowd is looking at everyone else. And because no one is reacting, everyone concludes that there is nothing to react to. The crowd becomes a mirror. You look calm because others look calm. Others look calm because you look calm. And in that shared stillness, a real emergency becomes invisible. Your brain is reading social cues. It always has. In the ancient group, reading the reactions of others before acting was often life-saving. If the people around you were not running, the predator was probably gone. If no one was reaching for a weapon, the intruder was probably not a threat. The crowd was your data source. You trusted it because it had been reliable for thousands of generations. In a crowd of strangers, that data source is corrupted. Everyone is playing the same waiting game. Everyone is feeding the same false signal back into the loop. And the emergency sits in the center of it, waiting for someone to break the cycle. Psychologist Philip Zimbardo, whose work on situational behavior reshaped how we understand human action, argued that in almost every case of bystander inaction, the problem is not the individual. The problem is the situation. Change the situation and you change the behavior. This is both the most disturbing and most hopeful thing science has found about the bystander effect. Disturbing, because it means your good intentions mean almost nothing inside the wrong social architecture. Hopeful, because it means the solution is structural, not moral, and that solution exists. It has been tested. It works. When researchers trained people to understand the bystander effect, when they simply explained to a group of strangers why diffusion of responsibility happens and how pluralistic ignorance traps people, bystander intervention rates climbed dramatically. Knowledge breaks the loop. When you know your brain is running an ancient subroutine designed for a tribe of 150, you can override it. You can choose a specific person in the crowd. You can look directly at them. You can say, "You in the red jacket, call an ambulance." You remove the diffusion. You name the responsibility. You hand it to one person, and something ancient and powerful responds. Because here is the other side of your evolutionary wiring. The same brain that freezes in a crowd of strangers is built for fierce, immediate action on behalf of someone it has personally claimed as one of its own. Your ancestors were not bystanders when a child from their tribe fell. They were not bystanders when someone they named, someone they knew was in danger. The impulse to protect, to act, to risk, it is in there. It has always been in there. It simply needs an address. The bystander effect is not the story of humanity being selfish. It is the story of a brain running a program written for a world that no longer exists. The program worked. For hundreds of thousands of years, it worked. It kept the group coherent. It prevented impulsive, wasteful action. It synchronized behavior through social cues. Every instinct involved was once a solution to a real problem. The problem is that the world changed faster than the program did. You are living in a city of millions with a brain calibrated for a village of 150. You are surrounded by strangers your brain has never been taught to recognize as yours. You are reading a social environment that your ancient wiring was never designed to read. And in that mismatch, in that gap between the world you were built for and the world you actually live in, the bystander effect was born. This is the evolution mirror. The same mechanism that once made you a precise, responsive, socially attuned member of a tight-knit survival group, the same wiring that helped your ancestors act together, cooperate efficiently, and avoid wasting effort is the exact mechanism that makes you stand still on a busy street while someone needs help. Your brain is not broken. It is displaced. And the next time you walk past a crowd of people staring at a scene no one is moving toward, you will feel something shift. You will know what is happening. You will know why every face around you is waiting for someone else to act. You will know that the crowd is not indifferent. The crowd is confused, running ancient software in a modern world. And you, knowing what you now know, are the one who can break the loop. Just like that person who collapsed on a busy street, surrounded by dozens, waiting for one person to decide that the responsibility was theirs. Now you know it could be you. Now you know exactly why no one moved. And now you know exactly what it takes to make someone move. It takes a name, it takes a direction. It takes one person who understands the program and chooses to override it. Your ancestors would have acted without thinking. You can act because you thought. Woohoo!